Ladies and gentlemen, if there's a person who should be a close customer to Hague right now, then is none other than Samia Suluhu. Well, in this video, this is what we are going to measure in why Samia Suluhu should be taken to Hague for him trying to do some things that are not accepted in African Union. Let's have a deep dive into it. The first reason is Samia Suluhu should be arraigned in Hague for ordering for rape of people like Agatha and Boniface Mwangi. Well, people who are not even Tanzanian citizen in this case.
And then they told me to turn around, I'm naked. So all this time they're telling me they're recording everything they're doing to us, or rather they're doing to me. So they're recording this. They're teaching me a lesson. So I'm stuck naked. They turn me around, say your name, your wife's name, your kid's name, where do you live, where do they go to school. I'm naked. And they removed the blindfold and said, now, so when I'm answering these questions, when I turn around, when I'm answering these questions, they are just threatening me. So like when they're abusing me, they're saying I should feel good and say thank their president for doing that to me, like Sema Sande Sana, Sane Sana.
Not my words, these are the words of Boniface Mwangi, who faced several assaults from Tanzanian abductors. Well, ladies and gentlemen, truth be said is that after all this, I was surprised for Tanzania. It's instead of Tanzania to apologize, Kenyan President Donald Ruto is the one who again apologized for Tanzania.
Our neighbors from Tanzania, if we have wronged you in any way, forgive us. Our friends from Uganda, if there is anything that Kenyans have done that's not right, we want to apologize if there is anything.
Hata kama Raila Amolo Odinga angekuwa president, I've never seen Raila Amolo Odinga going against the will of the law. Sijaona Raila go against the law. Maybe ati urep mtu wetu after sexually assaulting her, you expect us to again apologize for you. I think that Raila Amolo Odinga can never do such a joke. Ladies and gentlemen, what is the second reason why Samia Suluhu should be in Hague right now answering several questions about human rights? Samia Suluhu is ruthless to church leaders who have always criticized the CCM party in Tanzania. Well, here's the tape of this pastor from Tanzania seriously lamenting after police officers raided his premises just because they were sent with our one and only Mama Samia Suluhu. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the tape.
Maaskofu wamefika hapa usiku sasa. Ni saa 5:15 usiku hapa Dar es Salaam. Na hawa maaskofu wamefika hapa usiku sasa hivi kwa sababu ya taharuki iliyotokea. Kwamba tunaona hapo polisi wamekuja kuzunguka kanisa la Ufufuo na Uzima hapo Ubungo. Na maaskofu hao wamekuja haraka kukimbia kuja kusikiliza ni nini kinachoendelea. Of course hata mimi mwenyewe sijajua kinachoendelea, lakini naona hapo nje kuna defenders za polisi kama 3 hivi wamekuja kuzunguka kanisa. Hatujajua nini kinaendelea. Kwa hiyo tunataka maaskofu wenzetu wote na wachungaji wetu wote na waumini wetu wote mjue kwamba usiku huu.
So from this video, what I learned is that in Tanzania, if any religious leader just come directly to oppose the CCM party, maybe the Minister of Internal Affairs will be told to deploy police officers to identify these pastors. And guess what? After identifying these pastors, watafanyiwa ile kitu, maybe they will be assaulted, abducted, and even in some cases maybe they are being unalived. So that is the main reason why these pastors might be afraid. Well, but tell me, in several occasions, because I even did CRE in high school, and truth be said is that we learn about the roles of church in government. So the role of the church, the main role of the church in government is to criticize the government, to check on the excesses that the government is doing. If the government is doing abductions, then the church is there facing these people and criticizing them. But the case in Tanzania is totally different. You will find if a pastor lament and try to rectify the injustices that is being done with the current president, they are being abducted, unalived, and even their church licenses are being they are being threatened that their church licenses will be withdrawn. Well, Well, I ask myself, why is Mama Samia Suluhu so ruthless with the church leaders, despite Africa being among the countries that freedom for worship should be just free, because that is among the rights that are there in African Charter, the Human Rights for Africa. Well, then I came up with a conclusion that maybe she's doing all these things because she is a Muslim. But despite being a Muslim, we know very well that in any country in this world, any leader who is always being sworn in, you must either carry a Bible, a Quran, or those Hindus book. Well, which in this case, these ones always mark the role of religion and you. But also, I think Mama Suluhu also is forgetting something, that back days, even during Prophet Muhammad's time, the people and the kings were being anointed by the prophet sent by God. So maybe Mama Samia Suluhu is just trying to be the herald of this time. Third reason why Samia Suluhu should be in Hague right now is that this woman does not want to go to a free and fair election in the ballot, and for the best of its case, she has decided to arrest and detain the chief opposition leader, a guy who is being seen as a person who can who is a threat to his re-election in the next coming election. Ladies and gentlemen, our one and only Tindi Lucy was arrested and allegedly ran in court for saying that no reform, no election. Ladies and gentlemen, here are some of the images of Tindi Lisu in court.
Kaka unalia? Mwenyekiti unalia? Usilie bwana. Usilie. Na? Usilie. Usilie mwenyekiti. Sio wakati wa kulia. Try again. Try again. Kama hicho
Truth be said is that right now, if election is to be done in Tanzania, Tindi Lusu has a lot of chances to be elected as the next president of Tanzania. Because anytime if these leaders arrest the opposition leaders, their popularity wagena. Just look at the example when Akina Kibet Bull were abducted. Even those people who are not in X were there seriously lamenting that free Kibet Bull. And it says, they have never even seen him or her. So maybe this thing, maybe Samia Suluhu ameshaogopa, because the kind of wave that guy is bringing in TZ is what Samia Suluhu ni kama ameogopa. In this case, a good example is Jesus. You remember when Jesus was arrested and crucified? The crucifixion part alone is what made Jesus to be famous today. And truth be said is that if by any chance there was some probability that if Jesus was not crucified, the story of Jesus could have not trended. The same thing that we are seeing today, several religious leaders coming and praying for us, the good news of Lord, maybe and maybe the people crucified Jesus are now seriously regretting the act that they did of crucifying Jesus, because they made him more popular. Ladies and gentlemen, I then ask myself, why should Tanzania face such irreligious leadership despite them lamenting that they have nothing to learn in Kenya? Well, I came and realized that Tanzania is being led with a Form 4 dropout. Well, not my words, these are the words of our one and only Samia Suluhu admitting that he is a Form 4 dropout. Here's the tape. The last time that I saw Kenya being led with a Form 4 dropout was during the time of Moi, when Moi was in power, and indeed the same things that Tanzanians are facing right now truly is what we used to face when Moi was in power. The kind of dictatorial abduction, the torture chambers is what they are facing right now, are the same problems that we faced when Moi was in power. Anyway, guys, a good leader, a person who can even call on sexual assaultment of her fellow female, ladies and gentlemen, I think that this one is what should be taken with a lot of seriousness, and Samia Suluhu should be answerable to these questions. So anyway, guys, let me know on the comment section why you think that Samia Suluhu needed to be arrested immediately and taken to Hague. At last, I was your host, Silas. Till next video, bye bye.